Well, I think the president should stop using the phrase "in the history of the country" because he doesn't know enough about it to justify it. And they use the word unprecedented kind of doesn't quite capture it. At some point, it seems to me, there's got to be 10% of self-identified Republicans. I know a lot of Republicans whose hearts are in the right place, but their minds have been captured by the pursuit of power. They've decided that taxes and judges are worth putting up with this kind of behavior. And it's not American. It's not dignified. Walter Bagehot, the founder of The Economist in the 19th century, wrote that the British Constitution had two functions. There's the efficient and the dignified. The President of the United States embodies both of those, is supposed to. And in this case, he's managed to commit an impeachable act in real time in front of all of us.
That's not often we get to watch it on television. We've watched assassinations on television. We've never seen a president in the midst of an impeachment proceeding commit what could well turn out to be an impeachable act in itself, tampering with a witness. Right. And as you say, it's not even like the Nixon tapes. We had to subpoena those. This just unfolds in plain sight. And I think people have to think about it. And they may come to a different conclusion. But as John Adams once said, facts are stubborn things. And the fact of the matter is people have to decide, is this the person you want sitting there at the pinnacle of power with the charge of the Constitution and the destiny of what Churchill called the Great Republic?
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.